Hey there guys, welcome to today's live stream. So I am doing this one a little bit earlier than what I had originally anticipated, mostly because I've not been feeling as well today. So I just want to you know, sort of get this value out to you guys because I don't want to skip this live stream. I want to give you guys enough of value that I can. And I really apologize for changing the schedule. I am going to of course, share this to the YouTube page where you can, send a comment or anything like that. If you have any questions over anything I discussed today, you can always reach out to me in a message. Anything like that, I'm willing to answer your questions, even if you're not able to watch live. So, again, I apologize for starting it at an earlier time. But I've not been feeling as well today, so I wanted to go ahead and get it out, and I don't want to skip it, and I don't want to give you guys the value and share some great information with you guys. And there's one other thing I wanted to mention. I am going to start sharing my promotion pretty soon, coming up in December, so you can check that out. I will have that on the group page as well as uploading it to my main Facebook page. So it's going to be a big discount for all of my fitness training programs, any program itself. I'm not going to mention what it is just yet, but it's going to be a big discount that you can get into my fitness training, and it's all access to everything. But I will share that here in the near future in the next couple of days and share that promotion with you guys. And I think that's it as far as things I needed to talk to you guys about. So let's go ahead and get started on what I'll be talking about today. And I'm going to be talking about SAQ training, or otherwise known as speed, agility, and quickness training. So for this training method itself, it is primarily used without equipment. So the only things that you would have to have is mainly markers, sort of like cones, to sort of do this type of exercise. But other than that, these types of exercises are really simple. They don't require any, if small amounts of equipment, if not any. So I wanted to share this with you guys because this is a great way, especially if you're beginning with exercise, to sort of get yourself, get your feet in the water and, start out with something that doesn't require equipment that you can try. Alrighty, so what exactly is speed, agility, and quickness training? So of course it has three components, and I'm going to explain each of these three components. Depending on what you're mainly focusing on is going to determine sort of the main, target, whether it be speed, agility, or quickness itself. But let me go ahead and define what SAQ training is. So defining SAQ training, and what you'll learn today is SAQ, of course, stands for speed, agility, and quickness training. This type of training stimulates muscular, neurological, connective tissue, as well as cardiovascular fitness adaptations. These movements can promote improvement in physical performance. So this is sort of a mix of between cardio exercise and more in sort of like muscular endurance-based exercises. So you're not only just, doing regular cardio, but you're adding more of a agility to it. I guess if that makes sense. So it's more of stimulating your muscles, sort of tracking sort of your reaction and things like that. And again, it's not going to require equipment. It's just a lot of more fast motions, more endurance-based exercises that you're going to do when you focus on SAQ training. So let's go ahead and define each separate component and what it means in SAQ training. So speed is the ability to move the body in one direction as fast as possible. So that's one of the key components as far as it relates to SAQ training. So again, this refers to, straight ahead velocity, and it's measured at a distance divided by time. So that's mainly what speed means when we relate it to SAQ training. Now, agility, this is defining agility. This is agility necessitates the ability to start or stop. In other words, accelerate or decelerate, as well as stabilizing and changing direction. So again, this is more of reaction time, being aware of when you're supposed to, take off, and then when you're supposed to slow down. That's basically what agility is just being aware of that reaction time. So quickness, when I sort of learned about SAQ training, it sort of confused me because speed and quickness, but they're two separate components. So what quickness is the ability to react and change body position at a maximum rate of force production. So again, that's completely separate to when we talk about speed. So quickness is more of related to the ability to react. It's more of, that taking off and, changing that, how fast you change that motion is basically what quickness is versus speed itself. Okay, so let's talk about what populations are going to benefit the most when it comes to SAQ training. And you may be surprised that it can help a lot of different populations, whether it be non-athletic people, youth, weight loss based goals, people who have weight loss based goals, and seniors as well can benefit from SAQ training. So when we look at SAQ and the different exercises it is composed of, we can easily understand that it can be targeted to a particular population. So speed, agility, and quickness training can be beneficial to a wide variety of populations. So like I mentioned, it can be, non-athletic people, youth, which are like younger kids, weight loss based individuals, and then seniors as well. And there's so many different sort of variables, different types of exercise you can try. And like I always mentioned before, it's about the progression that you do. So, if you're just starting out, you want to start with something that's, easy for you to sort of dip your toes into, and then gradually progress, to more advanced exercises. So it's when it comes to laying out this type of exercise, it's the same way. Progression is the most important part. Alrighty, so let's talk about some examples of SAQ drills. And that's mainly sort of what SAQ, a lot of the training method is more of drill-based type exercises. So, like I mentioned before, a wide variety of populations benefit most from specific types of drills, whether it be youth-based population. So, if you have youth-based people, like kids, they can focus on a drill like a red light, green light. Or if you have a weight loss goal client, they can focus on, maybe like a jump rope drill or a cone shuffle drill. So one way that I like to describe these drills is almost like an obstacle course in a way. That's sort of mainly what these types of exercises are. And again, it's all about, measuring your speed, your agility, your ability to react, and then, how quick you can react to certain stimulus. Okay, so like I mentioned, it's all about progression when you're doing, any type of exercise. So I want to talk about here some of the basics of the 3 different types of SAQ levels. So in the beginner level, you have 4 to 6 drill with limited inertia and unpredictability. So the types of exercises that you'll do are mainly cone shuffles and agility gliders. And I'll explain a little bit more about what those mean just in this next slide. So in the next one, we have intermediate basic drills. So you have 6 to 8 drills that you would do, allowing greater horizontal based inertia, but having more limited unpredictability, so such as a 5-10-5 or AT drill. Again, I'll show those here in just a second. And then more advanced base drills, you would do 6 to 10 drills, allowing for maximum amount of inertia, as well as unpredictability, such as a modified box drill. So it all kind of varies. basically when it talks about, sort of inertia, it's sort of talking more about the reaction of these exercises. So, depending on where you start out, you're only going to do, beginner, you're going to do 4 to 6 drills. For intermediate, 6 to 8, and then advanced, 6 to 10. So, you're going to modify it as you progress through that specific training model. So here's an example of some of the exercises. And like I mentioned before, these are all mainly, I like to describe them as sort of like an obstacle course in a way. But these are basically sort of a simplified diagram of how these exercises work. So, for example, I'll start with the T drill here. So, from one cone, you would sprint. When you're going up to that first cone, or that second cone, you would sprint to that cone. And then when you go to the right, you would side shuffle to the cone, the third cone. And then the fourth one, you would side shuffle as well. And then you would also do a Karakoka from each of the other cones. So this one's kind of hard to explain in, not in a visual format, but this sort of, shows exactly what it is. But again, it's like almost, like I said, like a, how would you describe it? Just, like any kind of, like if a military drill or things like that. It's that type of exercise. So with 5-10-5, basically with this one, you would sprint to one cone, and then you would sprint back to the main cone, sprint to the other cone, and then sprint all the way back and forth. That's basically what a 5-10-5 is you're going from one cone, that one piece, and then going to the next cone, and then going the full range of the cones. And then the modified box drill is basically, you're starting at the middle cone. You've got 4 cones on the outside. You're starting at the middle cone and you're going from one cone sprinting, the second cone sprinting, the third cone sprinting, and the fourth cone sprinting. And then it can be done in different ways. You could change it up, in a lot of these exercises, it would help when you, like if you're working with a trainer, they can tell you which cone to go to, and it sort of tests your reaction and tests sort of how you, accelerate to a certain cone, or how you decelerate, how you react. So a lot of it, again, is mainly about, sort of your reaction, how quick you react, and how fast you do it. That's, sort of sums up what these drills are targeting. And again, these don't require equipment. All you would really need, you wouldn't even have to have cones. Like if you had some sort of marker that you could use, if you do it like out in the yard or something like that, you could just, set it up like a cone and do these exercises, at home. So there's different ways that you can do it, and there's way more examples that you could go by as far as drills. These are only just a couple of the drills that I wanted to share with you guys today. So yeah, I mean, again, you don't need equipment. It's easy to try it out. And if you have any questions about these exercises and how to do them, correctly, I'm always willing to answer those questions. I know when you're looking at it through a presentation, it's not as easy to understand, but, I'm always willing to sort of share with you guys more information if you really want to get started and, try these exercises. Again, all you need is something to like have a marker to sort of, like as the cones are represented, use that marker where the cones would be. So that's all you would have to do to get started. So thank you guys for watching this live stream. I apologize for starting it early than anticipated. But again, I've not been feeling that well today, and I wanted to get this out to you guys. I didn't want to cancel. I wanted to get this information out and share all of what these exercises can offer, because these are really easy exercises to try out. to, sort of test your speed, test your agility, test your quickness. So thank you guys for watching this. Again, I'll share some information about the promotion that I'm going to be doing here pretty soon, and share with you guys how you can get started in the program. And I will be having another live stream coming up. I have not shared it yet in the group, but I will. Just be sure to monitor the group if I do have any changes in schedule, or if I change the live stream time. Just be sure to monitor that. And again, this video or live stream, I guess I should say, will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can watch it at a later time or a different time that's more, that you're more comfortable with and that you have, the ability to watch. So I'll have it there as well, and then you'll have it on the group page. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, you can email me, you can send me a message, anything of that sort. And I hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys in the next live stream. So thank you guys.